Bismillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Rabbi yassir wa la tu'assir wa tammim bil khair. Lesson number 14, exercise 3. أدخل إذا في 4 جمل على أن يكون الجواب. So now what we have to do, we have to use إذا, or we have to enter إذا في 4 جمل, in 4 sentences. على أن يكون الجواب, so the answer should be جملة اسمية في الأولى, a nominal sentence in the first example. Yes, do you remember an example of جملة شرطية which consists of nominal sentence as an example? The verse of the Quran, that is وَإِذَا سَأَلَكَ عِبَادِي عَنِّي فَإِنِّي قَرِيبٌ. And similarly we have over here إِذَا أَرَدْتَ أَن تَنَامَ فَغُرْفَتِي مَفْتُوحَةٌ. If you want to sleep, my room is open. So we can see over here that غُرْفَتي is a nominal sentence which is mubtada and مفتوحة is khabar. So the whole construction over here, jawab al-shart, as we can see here, is jumla ismiya. إذا أردت, so we know إذا is اسم شرط and أردت is فعل الشرط. أن تنام فغرفتي مفتوحة. So the first one here, we have jawab al-shart as jumla ismiya. Then the second one, we have to have فعل أمر في الثانية, and jawab al-shart should be فعل الأمر. إذا سمعت الأذان فاذهب إلى المسجد. إذا سمعت الأذان, when you listen to the adhan, فاذهب إلى المسجد, then go to masjid or go to masjid. So we can see over here, سمعت is فعل الشرط, and اذهب, as we can see here, this is jawab al-shart. And why do we have fa over here? Because this is amr, this is an order, it's a command, so that's why we have fa before this. So it is إذا سمعت الأذان فاذهب إلى المسجد. Number 3, فعلا مضارعا مقترنا بلام الأمر في الثالثة. Now it should be a present tense, فعل مضارع, and it should be connected with لام الأمر. As we know that جواب الشرط can be جملة اسمية, it can be جملة طلبية which is استفهام أمر, or لام الأمر, and then it is نهي. So إذا رأى أحدكم أحمد فليسأله عن سبب غيابه. إذا رأى أحدكم, if someone among you sees Ahmed, فليسأله, let him ask, عن سبب غيابه, about the reason of his absence. So now we can see here that فليسأل, as we know that fal is basically lam al-amr, and that is what we have to do over here, that jawab al-shart should be lam al-amr. And then the fourth is فعلا مضارعا مقترنا بلا الناهية في الرابعة. And in the fourth sentence, it should be present tense which is connected with لا الناهية. إذا دخلت المسجد فلا تجلس حتى تصلي ركعتين. إذا دخلت المسجد, when you enter masjid, فلا تجلس. So as we know that لا here is لا الناهية. And how do we confirm? We can confirm that the mudari after this is majzoom. So you are prohibiting someone, stopping someone from doing something. So when you enter masjid, فلا تجلس, so do not sit, حتى تصلي ركعتين, until you pray 2 rak'ahs. And we know that حتى, in the coming lesson we will learn in detail about it, that when it comes with the mudari, with the present tense, then it makes it mansub. And why it makes it mansub? The grammarians say that it has an hidden in it. So it's basically hatta an tusalliya. As we know that when we have an before the mudari, it becomes mansub. So they say that there is an mudmira, yani there is an hidden in that. That's why it gives nasb to the present tense, to mudari. Now we will have a look at the examples of إذا الشرطية from the Quran. قوله تعالى وإذا شئنا بدلنا أمثالهم تبديلا. Alright, so here, where is فعل الشرط And where is jawab al-shart? And what kind of jawab al-shart is this? Yes. وَإِذَا شِئْنَا, as we know that shi'na is a past tense, and this is also, we know that this is fi'l shart, and jawab shart is baddalna. If we wish, we will change amthalhum tabdila, their examples like they are supposed to be changed. So baddalna here is jawab shart. Now, why do we not have fa with that? Does anyone remember why do we not have fa with that? Because it is past tense. Baddalna is past tense. So with the past tense, fa is not connected because it does not meet one of the conditions. The 4 conditions that we have seen, it does not meet any of those conditions. And if you remember the example in the beginning of the lesson, إِذَا جَاءَ رَمَضَانُ فُتِحَتْ أَبْوَابُ الْجَنَّةِ. So futihat is past tense, and here also baddalna is also the past tense. And that's why there is no need to, or fa is not connected to that. So both of them, shart is past tense and jawab shart is also past tense. In most of the cases, like 95% of the cases, fi'l shart is past tense. But there is a possibility that it can be present tense. And there are only 3 or 4 examples in the Quran where we have fi'l shart as the present tense, whereas majority of the examples in the Quran, fi'l shart is the past tense. In this verse of the Quran, we can see over here, وَإِذَا تُتْلَى عَلَيْهِمْ آيَاتُنَا قَالُوا قَدْ سَمِعْنَا. Tutla, is it present tense or past tense?
Present tense.
Present tense. Is it active or passive?
Passive.
Passive, excellent. So now we can see here that, as I mentioned earlier, that there is the possibility that the present tense can also be shart as well. It can be shart, as we can see over here. And all the examples, there are around 11 examples of that in the Quran, and all of them have been used in the same way. Like all of them have been used in the passive form. Like it could be وَإِذَا تُتْلَى أو إِذَا تُتْلَى, or it could be إِذَا يُتْلَى. So all of them, they have been used in the present tense, they have been used in the passive form, and the same verb. This verb is basically tala yatlu. Tala yatlu, tala is the past tense, yatlu is the present tense, and the passive will be tuliya. Tuliya will be passive tense for the past, and yutla will be the passive of the present tense, yutla. And here we have tutla. Now, why we have tutla? Because ayat is feminine, and for the feminine we have to use the feminine verb. So that's why it is tutla. وَإِذَا تُتْلَى عَلَيْهِمْ آيَاتُنَا قَالُوا قَدْ سَمِعْنَا. Okay. What about jawab al-shart? Is it present tense or past tense?
Past tense.
Past tense, excellent. قَالُوا, they said, قَدْ سَمِعْنَا, we indeed heard. So this is the past tense, perfect. Now here we have an example from the Quran where we have both shart and jawab al-shart as present tense. Both shart and jawab al-shart as present tense. إِذَا يُتْلَى عَلَيْهِمْ, when it is recited to them, يَخِرُّونَ لِلْأَذْقَانِ سُجَّدًا, then they prostrate or they fall down in prostration. So now we can see here that yutla is basically present tense, and this is passive of tala yatlu. So إِذَا يُتْلَى عَلَيْهِمْ, when it is recited to them. So we can see over here that this is fi'l shart, yutla is fi'l shart, and يَخِرُّونَ لِلْأَذْقَانِ سُجَّدًا is jawab shart. And here we can see that jawab shart is also present tense. It's very rare, but there are only 3 or 4 examples like this in the Quran, but they have been used in the Quran as well. In the lesson, if you remember, we discussed about one like from the poet. There was one piece of poetry that he discussed over there, and here we have the verse of the Quran where we have shart is present tense and jawab shart is also present tense. Then we have again a verse of the Quran, وَإِذَا قُرِيَ الْقُرْآنُ فَاسْتَمِعُوا لَهُ وَأَنصِتُوا لَعَلَّكُمْ تُرْحَمُونَ. Yes. So قُرِيَ is the past tense. Is it active or passive?
Passive.
Passive. قرأ يقرأ قرئ يقرأ. Excellent. So وإذا قرئ القرآن, so when Quran is recited, so when we look at the translation, when Quran is recited, فاستمعوا له. Okay, فاستمعوا. جواب الشرط. Why جواب الشرط has fa to that, added to that? Because this is amr. This is an order. Istami'u, and when we add fa with that, it becomes fastami'u lahu. So when Quran is recited, listen to it. وأنصتوا, and keep quiet. لعلكم ترحمون, so that you have mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Turhamun, is it active or passive?
Passive.
Passive, excellent. Why? Because it starts with dhamma, it has ta, and then after that we have fatha. So that means for the present tense, the passive will be, it will start with dhamma, and then after that will be fatha for the present tense. Whereas for the past tense, we have dhamma, and then after that we have kasra. So that's how you will be able to figure out that when we talk about the passive for the past tense has dhamma and kasra, whereas passive for the present tense has dhamma and fatha. All right. فإذا قرأت القرآن فاستعذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. Yes. قرأت is the past tense. It's فعل الشرط. فإذا قرأت القرآن فاستعذ بالله. استعذ. So this is also amr. This is also amr. فاستعذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. So when you recite the Quran, then seek refuge with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, from the shaitan, the pelted one. Okay, so here qara'ta is the past tense, regular past tense. This is not majhul. All right, then we have Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu idha laqitumul ladhina kafaru zahfa fala tuwalluhumul adbar. Yes. إذا لقيتم الذين لقيتم لقي يلقى. So this is the past tense. Yes, is the fi'l shart. فلا, what kind of la is this?
Nahi.
La الناهية. Excellent, for nahi. Perfect. فلا تولوهم الأدبار. So as we can see over here that fa has been added to this. Why? Because this is la الناهية. So we know that when we have istifham أو amr أو nahi, then we have to add fa to that. Excellent. And the last example, let's see if you are able to figure out. وَإِذَا أَرَادَ اللَّهُ بِقَوْمٍ سُوءًا فَلَا مَرَدَّ لَهُ. Yeah, أراد is the fi'l.
This is la nafi jins.
This is what kind of la is this?
La nafi jins.
Excellent. La nafi lil jins. Perfect. So what kind of sentence is this? Like I would ask, why do we have fa over here? Why fa is added to that? Because it's not nahiya, it's not nahi.
Nominal sentence.
Excellent. So the condition that we meet over here is that it is a nominal sentence. So whenever a sentence starts with la an-nahiya, la rayba fi, la ilaha illallah, and la maradda lahu, so then in this case it will be a nominal sentence. Excellent. وَإِذَا أَرَادَ اللَّهُ بِقَوْمٍ سُوءًا, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to inflict a nation with evil, with punishment, فَلَا مَرَدَّ لَهُ, then there is no returning for them, there is no turning back for them. So mashallah, now as we can see here, there are mashallah around 6 or 7 verses of the Quran we are able to understand, we are able to figure out, and inshallah these lessons will help us to analyze the text of the Quran as well. Then we have a hadith. The first part, you will inshallah tell me what kind of construction is this, and we have already done this hadith, I think, in lesson number 13. Yes, so you should be able to know this one. وعن ابن عباس قال كنت خلف النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يوما فقال يا غلام احفظ الله يحفظك. Yes, do you remember this construction? Why يحفظك here is majzoom? Why mudari is majzoom over here? Because it is Talab.
Jawab.
Yeah, jawab al-talab. Excellent. Perfect. Jawab al-talab. So we know that whenever we have jawab al-talab, when mudari comes as jawab al-talab, then it becomes majzoom. So ihfaz is basically talab. Yani this is amr. So ihfadillaha. So we know that this is majzoom over here. Ihfaz is here. It is majzoom, and when we connect it with ismul jalala, then it is connected with kasra. It shouldn't be there. So ihfadillaha yahfadka. So it means like um, be mindful of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yani be mindful uh, of the restrictions or the rules or the things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have given us to follow. احفظ الله يحفظك احفظ الله تجده تجاهك. Again, تجده. Why تجد is majzoom?
Jawab al-talab.
جواب الطلب. Perfect. So احفظ الله تجده تجاهك. And again, be mindful of Allah and you shall find him with you. وإذا سألت فاسأل الله. Yes. What kind
Shart
of
past.
excellent. So سألت is فعل شرط past tense. فاسأل الله.
Jawab
Or it should be فاسأل الله. Yes. Yes. جواب الشرط is
al-shart is amr.
أمر. Excellent. So that's why fa is connected to that. Excellent. وإذا سألت فاسأل الله. وإذا استعنت. It's basically وإذا استعنت. This is also همزة الوصل. وإذا استعنت فاستعن بالله. استعنت
Again.
فعل الشرط. فاستعن
Jawab al-shart
جواب
is
الشرط.
amr.
And this is also أمر. Excellent. And if you seek help from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's what we say in Surah Al-Fatiha. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم. So whenever we ask for the right path, or whenever we ask for help, then we ask for help only from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is also from Arba'in Nawawi, from the 40 ahadith of Nawawi rahimahullah, and also it's in Riyadh al-Jannah as well. So what's that? Riyadh al-Salihin, I should say, in Riyadh al-Salihin as well. So this hadith is very famous, and I think we must memorize it. Why? Because it helps us to improve our aqidah as well. It's a part of our aqidah as well, that whenever we follow the boundaries that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has fixed for us, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will always bless us. So that means if we do not commit any kind of sin, then inshallah Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala we will find Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala helping us on our path. Similarly, whenever we ask for help, we only ask for help from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and not anyone else.
Ustad, can you say to again Shartul Talabi? Can you say, sir?
Which one?
Yakhfalillah yakhfaluhu. That rules I don't.
يحفظك.
That rules I don't know, sir.
Okay, this rule here, this is what we have discussed in lesson number 13. Ihfaz is basically fi'l al-amr. This is fi'l al-amr, when you are commanding someone. So when you command someone, and after, as a result of the command, you have present tense after that, then the present tense becomes majzoom, yani it becomes sakin. So ihfaz is basically, this is fi'l al-amr. So this is fail plus file, and ismul jalala is maful bihi, and yahfadhu, this was basically yahfadhuka. Yahfadhu. It was basically dhamma over there, but it has become majzoom. Why it has become majzoom? Because before that we have fail al-amr. So whenever we have nahi or amr, or we have a question istifham before the present tense, before mudare, then mudare becomes majzoom. And you can refer back to lesson number 13, and inshallah it will be very helpful. So we have discussed in detail in lesson number 13 that whenever we have talab means whenever there is a question, or whenever there is a command, or whenever there is nahi, then after that when we have present tense mudari, then mudari becomes majzoom. It becomes sakin. Did you get it?
Alhamdulillah, I get yes, sir. I'm asking to the same meaning it will come, sir. This the meaning is the present tense meaning only it will come.
The meaning will be present tense. Exactly, that's right. Yes, it will be translated in the present because please remember that amr always gives the meaning of command, always gives the meaning of present. Because we use command only in the present tense, we cannot use it for the past tense, or it can't be used for the future tense. So the translation will be restricted to the present tense, as we can see over here. Be mindful of Allah, and He will protect. So when you talk about the second part, because the second part is Allah will protect you, it means that Allah is going to protect you. So if you are mindful of something, because basically it is conditional sentence. So in English, when you talk about the conditional sentence, normally the first part is present and the second part is future. For example, if you study hard, you will pass the exam. So in basically English, it will be translated, first part will be present and the second part will be future. Whereas in Arabic, both parts will be translated in the present tense.
Okay, so Jazakallah khairan.
وإياك. Now we have the vocabulary part. We have برقية, telegram, قام يقوم قياما, to get up. What will be the فعل الأمر of قام يقوم?
قم.
قم, excellent. And قياما is masdar. It is masdar, right? That's why it is mansub. عادة, habit. عطس يعطس عطسا وعطاسا. يسمع صوت العطاس. So عطاس is basically it is masdar. عطاس is masdar. And اسم الفاعل will be, what will be the اسم الفاعل?
عاطس.
عاطس. Yeah, من العاطس, if you remember, on the
Yes.
pattern of فاعل عاطس. So عطاس basically is masdar, and عاطس is the person who sneezes, to sneeze. Okay, عطاس, as we can see here, sneeze. رحم يرحم رحمة, to have mercy. حمد يحمد حمدا, we have discussed many times. Then we have hada yahdi, and it has, as we can see over here, masdar is hudan wa hadiyan and wa hidayatan. So it has three masadir, as we can see, thalathatu masadir. So it is hudan wa hadiyan wa hidayatan. Hudan, guidance, and then we have hadin. Okay, what kind of noun is this?
فاعل.
Ismul fa'il, right? Ismul fa'il from which verb?
هدايا.
Hada
هدا.
yahdi, yeah, this one. From hada yahdi, fahuwa hadin. Hada yahdi, fahuwa hadin. Hudiya yuhda, fahuwa mahdiyun. So these things you should know now. Mashallah, you have reached book number 3. So if you remember, I told you from the beginning that whenever you get a verb, you should be able to make at least minimum 3 forms of the present tense and 3 forms of the passive, active, and 3 passive. For example, hada, past, yahdi, present, fahuwa hadin, ismul fa'il. Hada yahdi fahuwa hadin. And then you should also make passive so that you get used to it. Hudiya yuhda fahuwa mahdiyun. Fahuwa mahdiyun. So you should be able to make ismul fa'il and ismul maf'ul. So inshallah it will enhance your experience of learning Arabic language. So that's why you can see here we have hadin, and we know that this is the ismul manqus. Ismul manqus means that when it is marfu', then ya will be dropped. But when we add al with that, then the ya comes back, as we can see here over here. So when we say al, it will be al hadi. And similarly, when it is used as mudaf, then also ya comes back. So in 2 conditions we know that ya comes back. Number 1, when we have al with that, and when it is used as mudaf. Hadin is ismul fa'il, and mahdiyun is ismul maf'ul. As you can see here, active participle hadin, passive participle mahdiyun. Aslaha yuslihu islahan, to improve or to reform, ameliorate. So we can see here that this is verb form number 4. It's written over here, it's number 4. أصلح يصلح إصلاحا. What will be اسم الفاعل?
Muslim.
مصلح. Excellent.
I
Then
still
we
have
have,
a question from the previous slide.
sorry?
I have a question from the previous slide.
Mhm.
When we have like at-sun and uta-sun and uta-sun, what's the difference apart from they are in different like one is in raf and one is in nasb? One is used as a masdar, like uta-sun is a masdar, but uta-sun with the dhammatan, it's not a masdar, right?
No,
Or is it?
it's a very good question. Now, basically, please remember that every noun in Arabic has three states. It will be marfu, mansub, and majroor, always. So, masdar adatan, normally masdar comes as mansub. Why it comes as mansub? Do you remember?
Yes, we read about it, but I don't remember. Masdar
Yeah.
always usually comes as mansub because of the place,
It's
and mostly it's used.
maf'ul mutlaq, absolute. pronoun,
Yes,
maf'ul
it's
mutlaq,
used as
absolute
maf'ul.
object. If you remember the example, وَرَتِّلِ الْقُرْآنَ تَرْتِيلًا. Yeah. So similarly, there are so many examples in the Quran. So the reason why masdar is always mansub, because the grammarians say this is always mansub because it is used as maf'ul mutlaq. The real construction, or the construction, that the normal construction will be marfu. Always it will be atasun or otasun. It will be always otasun. The original construction of every noun in Arabic language is always marfu'. It will be mansub or majroor for a reason. Why is it mansub over here? It is mansub because it is used as maf'ul mutlaq. And why is it majroor? Because it is either it is used as mudaf ilayh or it comes after harf jar.
Preceding, right.
All right. So
So
that's
what
why.
does
Mhm.
I mean? I wanted to ask if it's like in somewhere in Quran, how do we decide that the translation will be like sneezing or sneeze, like utasan. I will translate it as sneezing because the masdar adds an ing in the English translation, right?
Yes, yes. So inshallah, when
And
you look at, like, you would see the status of the noun, whether it is used marfu, mansub, or majroor. That's number one.
okay,
So
okay,
after looking at the status, inshallah, you will be able to figure out that why it has been translated into masdar, or why it has been translated as maful bihi. Then it depends. Like, it can be mansub in different ways. It can be mansub because it is used as maful bihi, and it can be mansub because it is used as maful mutlaq. So when it is used as maful mutlaq, then it is used for emphasis. And when it is used as
yes,
maful bihi, then it is used in the place of object, the receiver of the action.
right.
And I hope, inshallah, you are also reading the translation of the Quran. So while you are reading the translation of the Quran, now you should pay special attention to all these, small details. And based on these small details, you will be able to figure out that whether it is used as maful bihi or whether it is used as maful mutlaq. Most of the cases,
Okay,
it is used as maful bihi. It's the receiver of the action. Especially when you see that we have different kinds of verbs starting from number 1 to number 14, then most of the times, except for 1 and 4, it will be maful bihi. And sometimes when you see that you have the same root letters, and then in the end you see it being used as mansub, then there is a possibility that it will be maful mutlaq. For example,
right,
here maful mutlaq always consists of the same root letters. So here we have atasa, and the root letters will be the same. Otasan, atasa, it will be the same.
right,
Okay.
right, sir. Exactly.
Oh, yeah. Balun means state or condition. Yahdikum Allah wa yuslihu balakum. Then we have hadiyatun, gift, and the plural is hadaya. This is also one of the very rare forms of plural that is used in the Arabic language. For example, qadiyatun means issue, and qadaya, and similarly hadiyatun and hadaya. Iqtarana, yaqtarinu, iqtiranan, to be linked. It's verb from number 8. Salaha yasluhu salahan is verb from number 1. What is the meaning of AU? Bab. Nasara. Yansuru. Yansuru. Okay. Hawala. Hawala. Give me the present tense, please.
يحول.
يحول. Excellent. حول يحول تحويلا, to change, to transform. So this is verb from number 2, whereas تضمن يتضمن تضمنا is verb from number 5. رغب يرغب رغبة, to desire, to covet, to crave. When it comes with the preposition of fi, it means to desire. What will be the meaning when it comes with the preposition of an? It means against. The hadith of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, man raghiba an sunnati falaysa minni. Man raghiba an sunnati falaysa minni. So whoever goes against my sunnah, he is not among us. So that means any person who is deviated from the path of sunnah is not among the Muslims. So raghiba an, it means against something, and raghiba fi means to desire something. Ayqadha yuqidhu iqadhan, to wake up, to wake someone up. Verb from number 4, very, very common. 2 and 4 are the most commonly used forms in the Quran. Qani'a yaqna'u qana'atan, to be content or to satisfy. And then we have radda yaruddu raddan, to reply. Why do we have here radda yaruddu raddan? Because we have taken the word maradda, la maradda lahu, la maradda. In the verse of the Quran, there is no return, there is no coming back. So these things, inshallah, now you need to figure out. So we have over here raghiba yarghabu raghbatan an, as we can see over here, to dislike. So an is the opposite of fi. Then we have mirfaq, elbow, and the plural is marafiqu. Marafiqu is mamnu min as-sarf. It is on the pattern of mafa'ilu. Istaqdama yastaqdimu istaqdaman, verb from number 10, to precede or to go before. Sa'a yas'a sa'yan, to strive. And ina'un, the plural is aniyatun wa awanin. What is jim jim?
Jamal jam.
Jam al jam. Ahsant. So ina'un, vessel or container or utensil, and then we have aniyatun wa awanin. And then in the end we have here ajalun, and the plural is ajalun, appointed time, deadline, time of death. Ta'unun, plague. Istakhara yastakhiru istikharan, it is to be late, to be delayed. Na'asa, nu'asan, to feel drowsy. This is like the beginning of the sleep. And when a person falls asleep, we say naum, nama yanamu, naum. So na'asa is basically the beginning, dozing off, like in the beginning of the sleep. Jawaza, yujawizu mujawazatan, to leave behind. Number 3. Waqa yaqa wuquan, we have taken it before, and it has several meanings, as you can see over here. Wada yada'u, to leave. And do you remember special thing about it? About this verb? Wadira yadaru, wada yada'u. What is so special about these verbs? Only madare and amr are used. Past tense normally is not used in the Arabic language. تم الدرس بالخير والحمد لله. So our lesson is complete. Alhamdulillah, we have completed our lesson now. And I have a little bit more information over here before our lesson ends. These are different types of fa over here. Types of fa in Arabic language. Why I am giving you over here? Because we have learned about fa in the previous lesson, in this lesson, and in the coming lesson we will also learn about it. So just there is one type of fa, and then there is one example to that. So please write them down and try to memorize them. The first one is alfa atifatu, coordinating conjunction. So this is basically used to connect two ideas, two verbs, two nouns, two sentences. قوله تعالى ثم دنا فتدلى. So dana is the past tense and tadalla is the past tense, and it is used to connect two verbs. It will always be used. Please remember that coordinating conjunction is always used to connect two verbs or two nouns or two sentences. They will be the same. Like dana is the past tense and tadalla is also the past tense. Then we have alfa istinafiya, resumption particle. It is basically used, and you have seen many examples in the Quran, that it normally comes in the beginning of the verse of the Quran, and the meaning of istinafiya means to resume something. So فَإِنَّمَا يَقُولُ لَهُ كُن فَيَكُونُ. So whenever you see fa in the beginning of the verse of the Quran, most of the times it will be fa'ul istinafiya. Then this is very important. We hardly pay any attention to this. This is fa sababiyatu, a particle of cause. How will we know that this is fa sababiyya? After this, the mudari will always be mansub. Mudari will always be mansub. أو يذكر فتنفعه الذكرى. So we can see here فتنفعه الذكرى. So this is تنفع. You know that nafa, yanfa'u, and tanfa'u, and this is not here. As you can see that dhamma has changed into fatha. So in the Quran, whenever you see that, you see fa, and after that you see that mudari is mansub, that means this is fa as-sababiyya. Fatakuna, fatakuna. If it has fatha, it's for the singular. It has noon has been dropped. That means fatakunu. That means noon has been dropped. So please remember that whenever after fa you see that the mudari is mansub, then it will be fa of cause. And then we have fa az-zaida, which is supplement or supplemental particle. وَرَبَّكَ فَكَبِّرْ. So sometimes you find fa that it is just in the Quran, and this is called fa az-zaida. And the last one we have discussed several times in this lesson, a result particle, al-fa'u waqiyatun fi jawab ash-sharti, وَإِذَا سَأَلَكَ عِبَادِي عَنِّي فَإِنِّي قَرِيبٌ. So these are the 5 different types of fa that have been used. Al-fa'at fil Quran, they call it fa'at. So these are the different types of fa that have been used in the Quran. Please try to write one example. We have one example over here. So if you write one example, one meaning, and you memorize one verse of the Quran, then inshallah it will enhance your understanding of the Quran and the Quranic language as well. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله. جزاك الله.
وإياكم.